And this is This Week in Car Audio. Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Tune in, tune in, tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in, 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 tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Yeah. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio.
Welcome to This Week in Cardio with your host, the Judge, Doug Stockton, co-hosted by the inevitable, superhuman, freaking, gonna be a movie star someday, we all know it, Mr. Jeffrey Fernandez. What's up, Jeff?
Nothing much, Doug. Nothing much. How you doing?
Oh, just doing, same old.
Cool.
Before we get going here, what do you got going on for Thanksgiving?
Actually, I don't have any plans this year.
No plans.
No plans. I think Dana and I'll probably just hit a restaurant. I remember way back when, I think nobody wanted to cook for Thanksgiving and we ended up going to some buffet. So I think maybe we might, do a fancy restaurant or something like that if they're open, but no real plans.
Fancy restaurant? Like Outback Steakhouse?
Yeah, that sounds cool. Maybe some kind of steakhouse. I don't know.
Oh, that's cool.
How about you? What you got going on?
Well, because this is how I roll. I like to run up to. I'm gonna run up to Reno, and let's see here. Oh, there we go. SQ Sounds popping in. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna pop up to Reno. That's where my family is, and go and just go maybe bowl a tournament, like I might be doing something like that, and then come back and bowl another tournament. And
with the family?
No. The rest of my family, they like to bowl, but not at the same level I am. So.
I see.
Yeah, so for my last 4 tournaments, I got a first, a third, a sixth, and a 10th. So
that's a lot of tournaments.
That's a couple tournaments. That's over the last 2 weekends. So
okay.
So I like to do the bowling thing, and then definitely gonna hang out with my family up in Reno. Right now, I'm just sharing with everybody. So, my wife is going to head for Christmas. My wife is going to head to Wichita to go look at the new house. So, we got some stuff going on there. Oh, what did I put? Okay, that wasn't a missed tip. There we go. All right, now I'm all shared out to all our things. Boom and Jeff saying test. Calvin, I see him posting. I don't see any of my Facebook guys. I wonder why I don't see Facebook.
Did he post on YouTube?
No, it says he posts on Facebook, but let me go to change my Facebook to the Sonic FX Facebook and see if I don't see the, okay, that looks good. I'm going to try and figure out what's here. Bam. There we go. Now it's populating. Okay, now I can see him. Okay. So, yeah, I wasn't getting the Facebook stuff across. Oh, Jody Green popping in saying afternoon. Tiffany, it's still not populating in my
I don't see
live chat.
Maybe I need to refresh it. Let me try to refresh
it.
Oh, there we go. Wow. Okay, I see Calvin, Tiffany, Jody. Yeah, there they are.
Eric Hansen.
Eric Hansen.
All right, so I got a test from YouTube again. For some reason, I'm not seeing my Facebook account. And let's see here. Bam. Nope, that's all the right information's right. Well, Doug, you're going to Baton Rouge next year to bowl. As a matter of fact, I am, Calvin. So
is that like a big hot spot for bowling?
That's actually going to be the national event.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm just going to read it off here. Only the YouTube side's going to show for
Oh,
some
okay.
reason, and I honestly don't know what it is. But speaking of Eric being in the chat, one of our sponsors for today's show, eBox Design and Install, along with Badass Sounds by Steve Bass. Always support those people that support the things that you guys like. These guys support the show, and if you guys appreciate it, let them know that you saw them on T.W.I.C.A, and that's what sent you there, or that's why you are purchasing from them. That helps us and lets them know that their money's being spent in a wise manner for them. Lord of Base Manny in the house. Calvin says he might see me there. Oh, there's Twitch again.
Oh, wow.
Eric on
Okay.
Twitch saying hello, Doug. So he's bumping up our views. One viewer at a time. Yeah, so Thanksgiving we're gonna do Thursday at my aunt's house. That'll be our small family gathering. 45, 50 people. And then we're gonna do my in-laws' house on Friday. I'm gonna bowl Friday night, Saturday morning. Well, I'm bowling Friday night from midnight to 5 a.m. on Saturday morning. Saturday morning, I'm going to probably take like a 3-hour nap, and then I'll get in my car and I'll drive back home so I can make it in time for an afternoon bowling tournament on Saturday night and then a bowling tournament on Sunday morning. So,
Do the bowling alleys do something up for like Thanksgiving for like holidays or?
sometimes they do, but this is always a big tournament for
Mhm.
weekend for
Oh,
tournaments,
okay.
right? So that's what it
I've heard
is.
of turkey bowling before. That's not the same, right?
That is one of the things they do, like leading up to
Oh, okay.
Thanksgiving or whatever. If you
Turkey
throw
bowling.
3 strikes in a row and you pay $1, you can win a turkey
What?
certificate.
Ah, okay. That
And
sounds
because
cool.
3 strikes in a row is called a turkey. Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So speaking of, well, we do the Thanksgiving up here, but our guest tonight, Rich Addis, is from New Zealand. I believe near Auckland or in Auckland,
Hmm.
and they don't do Thanksgiving down there, so this is all foreign talk to him. So,
I
how's it
thought you were
going,
going to say,
Rich?
speaking of turkeys.
Oh, no.
No, 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 no. All right, Rich. So you were suggested to us by Jody Green, the New Zealand
Yep.
DB drag judge. He said, "Hey, this guy would be a great person for you." And so, why don't you tell us why he suggested you?
I guess, yeah. What my company does in New Zealand is we basically have a home brand here,
Okay.
so we can supply products to our, local customers and enthusiasts at a pretty competitive price. We have a pretty good business here, and we go quite well. Jody's one of our customers slash competitors slash friends. Um, and is absolute gentleman. And yeah, he runs a little bit of our product in a couple of his cars, and does that quite successfully. So yeah, we're the importer of some American brands as well. So we're the local importer for JL Audio.
Okay.
We're the local importer for Zapco and ESB and Morel.
Okay.
So we
Quality
sort of cater
brands.
to we like to cater to the high end of the market, and or mid to high end stuff.
Hmm.
And then we use our own brand to sort of fill the SPL side of the equation. It's obviously quite a bit of cost in shipping from the States all the way down to
Yep.
Antarctica. So yeah, so it sort of works for us to create our own brand in that space, to be able to give good products at a good price to our customers. So yeah,
So, so for the viewers here that are geographically challenged, you would be to the east of Australia, correct?
correct. Yeah.
And now, I think Jody was saying like from some point in Australia or something, you guys are around 3,000 miles away or something.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you're 3,000 miles from where? Would
We're
just be
three,
the
we're about 3,000 miles east of Sydney, and probably
okay.
about
Hmm.
4,000 miles west of Argentina.
Okay, yeah. So that was what I was going to get to. Is I watched a documentary-ish thing about Amelia Earhart, and
Oh
one
yeah.
of her stops was New Zealand.
That's right.
because it was the closest place they can land between where she was coming from to Hawaii. So she came
Correct.
through, hit South Asia down to New Zealand, and
Oh,
then was
okay.
heading up to Hawaii, and that's where she disappeared. Was between that leg of Hawaii and New Zealand. So
Oh,
Ah,
yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
So you guys aren't Australian.
No, we're geographically challenged where we are. We basically
uh-oh.
live on a volcano in the middle of the ocean, so uh, not too much room to run if it erupts.
Tristan out of Bridgetown, Barbados. So that's a Caribbean island right there. He says we don't have Thanksgiving here either, so don't feel bad, Rich. But we know a lot about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, the American culture does dominate quite a bit of the world, right? I mean, the American dollar is the dollar of business in
Hmm.
general. So, yeah, so people learn about our customs and cultures more readily than some of the other ones. Do you guys have something like a Thanksgiving or anything like that you
Yeah,
guys do?
we don't. Well, we typically don't. Not many people here celebrate Thanksgiving, but my sister is visiting from Toronto, and she's obviously we're gonna have a little bit of a Thanksgiving uh, dinner on the weekend, so it's going to be a little bit belated, but we're going to sort of still celebrate it nonetheless. So yeah, it's always good to have an excuse to get together and break bread.
Yeah, orderly. That's not Australian. um, so she's coming from Canada?
Oh, Canada, yeah, yeah,
Dude,
Toronto.
good lord, that's a long ways away. We got a lot of Canadians watching this thing, and man, if
Yeah.
it's chilly in California right now, I can imagine it's cold as hell up in Canada. So, like right now, we're sitting in the 50s, which, just what was it, Jeffrey? What, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, we were high 90s,
Yeah.
something like
Wow.
that. That's like a lot of Celsius for you
Yeah,
guys
big drop.
down there.
Oh, is it Celsius out there? Okay.
Yeah, let's see here really quick. So we're at let's see here, 50 Fahrenheit equals what Celsius? Go. 10 degrees Celsius is where we're
Whoa.
at.
Ooh, 10
So
degrees.
and for other people that are geographically challenged, before we really get into some stuff, is right now it's the middle of late spring for you guys down there, right, in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
right. Yep, yep.
So their car
Just
show
coming in
season,
summer.
yeah. So their car show season is just getting going. So do you participate in the car audio competitions and stuff, or?
Yeah, we have a few cars. So we typically with when it comes to DB drag, we sort of assist some people in competing their own cars, but being the owner of a business, we don't typically enter our own cars. We
Right.
like to leave that for our everyone else to do. It's a
Uh-huh.
little bit unfair when you have effectively an unlimited budget to spend on a car. It sort of takes the fun out of it for everyone. But we do build show cars, so we do have some display cars and so forth that we have that we've built that we take along to the shows to support.
Okay. My son-in-law just posted on Facebook. It's currently 1 degree Celsius where I'm moving in Wichita. So my wife's gonna
Very
get a
cold.
rude awakening when she shows up there.
Uh-oh.
So it was minus 10 Fahrenheit. So that's gonna be like negative 22. So right.
Oh,
Let's see
yeah, that's
here.
cold.
Negative 10. Negative 23. Yeah, negative 23 degrees Celsius is what it was in January last year in Wichita. So
Oh,
just
don't envy
saying.
you there.
Just saying. It's chilly. So Jeffrey doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't. Jeffrey, have you ever even lived in a cold climate like that?
Negative. No, man, just those California winters where it just like, gets really cold, but never like that freezing cold.
What's that town that Moreno Valley? Maybe that's probably the coldest area you lived, or did you not live out
Hmm.
there in Moreno Valley?
No, no,
Oh,
just normally like the what they call the Inland
Riverside.
Empire, just
Yeah,
kind of far away from the coast
yeah.
type thing. So, but
Isn't that what Merino Valley is? Isn't that part of the Inland Empire?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. So
yeah.
that kind of gets chilly, but not so. Tristan out of Bridgetown says, "Oh my goodness, that's balls
Oh,
freezing weather."
balls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it get that cold out there in New Zealand?
In the North Island, it probably
No.
goes down to maybe 10 or 12 is the coldest. So around about 10 degrees is pretty cold here. You might get that, but we're typically pretty subtropical. So it's sort of,
Ah,
I mean, talking in Celsius, not Fahrenheit, it's normally 10
right.
to 25. So pretty nice weather all year round. It doesn't snow where I am,
Uh huh.
but it doesn't get super hot either.
Oh,
So
that sounds very much
Yeah.
San Diego like, huh?
Does it?
Yeah, that's real close to San Diego weather.
yeah,
So,
subtropical is as long as it's not too humid, subtropical is the way to go.
well, that's the key thing about San Diego, right? It's not super humid in San Diego, but it stays like 78 degrees all year long there.
Yeah,
So it's
nice.
nice, comfortable,
Oh yeah.
whatever.
You're
Um,
selling it. You're selling it.
there's a reason San Diego's very expensive to live, right?
Ah, there we go. Now we know.
Oh
Now we know
yeah.
the.
Oh yeah.
Gaz Leonard says, I'd kill
Hmm.
for some cold weather here in Brisbane. Oh, so you got some
Oh.
Australians
Mm.
watching today.
Watching
So that's
today.
There we
cool.
go.
So do you supply to Australia too?
Yeah, we've got a warehouse in Australia as well, so we sell the same brands in Australia that we sell in New Zealand as well.
Okay.
So we
And
cover both the areas.
so what does that look like for you, like tariffs or shipping between the two countries? Is that a difficult proposition for you or?
Yeah, we typically, depending on exactly what it is, we'll ship
Mhm.
normally into New Zealand.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
then what we'll do is our main warehouse is in Auckland, and then the smaller warehouses in Australia. So then we then collectively put the products together and then ship them over.
Okay.
But we also do some manufacturing in Auckland as well. So we make like specific subwoofer solutions for different, what would you call them, like pickup trucks and stuff like that.
Okay.
Hmm.
So we do a bit of manufacturing for some direct fit stuff that we make, and we probably sell 80-90% of that in Australia for their market. They're very big on their SUVs and pickup trucks over there.
So what would you call them if we call them pickup trucks? Do they have a
We call
different
them
name down there?
Utes.
Utes?
Utes. It's short for
Y-
utility vehicle.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because we have like the Daihatsu Utes out here.
Okay.
So it's like a minivan front end,
Oh, and it's like a
Yeah.
like
flatbed
a
in the back.
yeah, and then a flatbed in the
Yeah.
Oh,
back.
right.
Jeff
Yeah.
knows what those
Yeah.
are.
I've seen those.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like golf courses have those, and run around maintenance guys use those. That's right. Your backwoods vehicles are our maintenance vehicles over here in the states.
Do you guys have Ford Raptors?
We do have
Like
Raptors.
Yeah.
F-150s and
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
like that sort of style thing. So what's the smaller one you have in America that's smaller than an F-150? What's that called? In Ford.
And so it used to be a Ford Ranger, is what we used to
Yeah,
have.
so that's what we got. So we
Oh,
have
okay.
we that's one of our biggest selling pickups, utilities, whatever you want to call them. And we make, for example, a 8-inch ported solution that goes in behind the back seat of that's only about 4 inches deep.
Okay. I like how he calls it a solution. Like there was a
Well,
problem to start with. You don't have
Yeah.
bass in your vehicle. You got a
that's a
problem, young
problem.
man.
That's a problem, and I have the solution.
Problem. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So,
So it would
Yeah.
technically be like a OEM type integration type thing, or is
Yeah,
that
pretty
like,
much.
yeah, people want base and they don't want to build like a really big box. They just have something that can fit in like the nook of the truck or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, so like the area in behind that back seat is
Yeah.
approximately sort of 24 inches wide. I'm going in inches, not centimeters. So we'll go 24 inches wide by
that's
about
pretty small.
11 inches high by 4 inches deep. That's basically the cavity you've got to work with. So
Wow.
So we've designed a solution for that vehicle that gives the maximum amount of output for that cubic volume, which requires a 8-inch sub and a 0.5 cubic foot enclosure tuned to 33 hertz. So
Jody Green
just
says you guys drive on the right side of the car, not the road.
that's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tristan says a lot of our vehicles in Barbados are Japanese and Australian. So they run a lot, but small islands, so they got to have small vehicles. So,
Yeah.
like you put an F-250 out on your road. Well, your roads are how big? Are you guys have big roads, or do you have the same issue like Europe has, where your roads were built so small it makes it difficult for bigger vehicles to get around?
I guess it's pretty standard. I just think that the American highways, when you have, multi-lane highways, we don't have artillery, like arterial routes as big as yours.
Okay.
But we still have roads. But I'm rocking a H2. Oh, sorry, have I disappeared? Yeah, am I there?
Oh,
There you're back.
Yeah, sorry.
Right,
Sorry.
Notification.
Yeah, sorry, I just had someone calling. Yeah, so like I drive an H2 Hummer.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And that fits on your roads. So that would be
fine.
that's similar to like our F-150 in size. It's not very much. It's very similar in size.
Yeah.
Where you have you said the H2?
Yeah, H2.
Yeah, because that's just a Chevy truck with a funny looking body. Okay, Tristan says in Barbados there's a lot of Isuzu D-Max is real common.
Yeah, and that's another one that has a lot of problems if you want to try and add bottom end into your system. There just isn't any room to put anywhere, to put a sub anywhere in that vehicle that's that's not visible. So we sort of work on those sorts of vehicles and come up with some solutions. It's actually where the name of our company came from. Because a lot of people ask, where did you come up with the name Zeroflex? Yeah. And that name actually came from, we were fabricating 1/8 steel subwoofer enclosures that were made and welded out of steel that were going into the back of these vehicles. And the name came from the fact when I was selling it to the shops, they were asking, why do you make them out of steel? And I was saying, because they've got Zeroflex. They're so strong that they can't flex, because obviously, as you guys know, that if you build it out of very thin MDF wood and the enclosure moves and the enclosure flexes, you're going to lose your SPL out of that. So you're going to drop for every couple of millimeters it moves, you're going to drop a couple of dB. So the way to get around that, to get the volume and to get the rigidity, was to make them out of steel. So so we did that for a period of time. We have water jet cutters and laser cutters and CNC routers and all that sort of stuff in our warehouse to make those sort of products. So yeah.
Okay. Tristan says they have Raptors and 150s and 250s as well. So he says they can get around, I guess. So that's a interesting way to go about. So do you still build your enclosures out of steel?
Not so much anymore. We did do it for a period of time. It does become a little bit cumbersome in regards to trying to freight them, because they weighed quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
So we were doing it more for the local market, where we were able to hand deliver them. And they do make a fantastic product if you do weld them from front to back, and they're totally solid. They just, people will say that there could be some
quarter inch.
No, we're using 1/8. So basically, the magic number is 3 millimeters. It's just enough so that when you put a screw through it, it doesn't snap the shaft of the screw. So 3 mil was the magic number. So 5 mil is too heavy. It would weigh like maybe 60 pounds if you're making them out of that thickness.
Yeah, Tristan says you have to work out some difficult boxes for the D-Max, but we carry ground zero subwoofers that works perfect for them.
Okay, good.
That's what he says. So that's interesting. I have never, thinking about it, if you look at some of the extreme vehicles out here in DB Drag and some of the higher end super street vehicles, they're building them out of steel also, right? So I built an extreme vehicle out of steel on the inside, but we used 1/2 inch steel plates. Probably was a little overkill, but guess what? We're American. We do shit like that. So
Yeah, it all depends. It all depends on the square area of
correct.
of the area, So obviously, if you've got a, sort of a meter by a meter, you're going to have to make it out of something. And how much power
Yes.
you're putting into the enclosure, it's all relative. So yeah.
So so do they make the steel locally for you? You have to import it. Is that
Believe it or not, I actually live in the same suburb called Glenbrook, where is the only steel mill in the whole entire country. There's literally I can see the smoke coming out of the kilns for the chimneys where they make the steel. So it's I couldn't get any more local than what I am. I can literally walk down the road to where they make it.
okay?
Perfect.
So 1/8-inch steel. What do they charge out there for steel?
If I was buying a sheet of steel, like 1/8 steel, would be probably about, let me think, that would be about maybe $100 a sheet for a 8 foot by 4 foot sheet.
Yeah, 8x4 at $100.
Somewhere about $100, something like that. Yeah.
That's almost the same cost as MDF nowadays, huh, Jeffrey?
I was gonna say that's pretty much yeah, pretty much how much it costs here now. But so are the enclosures just painted, carpeted, or whatever the client wants or customer wants?
Yeah, we're typically we do two finishes mostly for everything we make now. We either do a carpet finish, which is pretty standard, or we do a polyurea sprayed finish. So like a tough deck style finish.
Oh, okay. Like
so those are the
liner?
two. Yeah, like a rhino liner. Yeah. So those are the two systems that we use. So depending on what, where the product's going or what it is, most of the time, if it's behind the back seat, it's normally a carpet finish product with we use acrylic inserts into the ends of them to make them look a little bit stylish.
Sounds like it would do well on the side-by-side market that they have out here.
Yeah.
With a lot of the off-road vehicles,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have to worry about, getting water on the MDF enclosure and getting soaked up. And wow, that sounds
And
great.
it would
Yeah,
still
it's really
produce
cool.
volume, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the issue with fiberglass is you only make it so thick, and fiberglass flexes like crazy. I've done things like put in a steel rod inside of fiberglass to help reduce the flex in it and stuff, So first thing you do is you fiberglass the shape. Once you have the shape made, then you hot glue in steel, and then you fiberglass the steel into the backside of the existing fiberglass shape. And that helps reduce flex, but you still have flex. So I honestly never even considered doing it out of steel. And then, obviously, if you have a decent welder, I wouldn't even carpet that dang thing. I mean, a stack of dimes looks damn good if you know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
A stack of dimes and a powder coat finish, you can't go wrong.
That's right. Are you familiar with the stack of dimes, Jeffrey?
No.
So somebody that welds really good, imagine a roll of dimes and you just opened it and laid it straight out, and what it would look like. That's what a weld looks like. Perfectly evenly spaced. Looks like a dime sitting on top of a dime on top of a dime on top, and it's just, when it's done right, it's a work of art. And somebody
it's the
that
opposite
welds
of chewing gum welds.
Yes. Chewing gum welds. Yeah, they don't look like chewing gum. When they look like chewing gum, that's when I fire my welders.
Uh-oh.
So, because in my trade, I did metal studs for many years before I became a superintendent, and and stack of dimes is what the inspector was looking for, and chewing gum welds, you'd fail.
Uh-oh.
So, so that's cool. Honestly, I've never considered it. Does it get a tinny sound to it? Does it alter the sound much? Do you have to line it?
No, you don't. I mean, surprisingly, it doesn't. People have always said that where they've tried to build a 12-inch sub box out of steel, and they've used say like a 1/16 of an inch steel, and it sounds all tinny and like a tin can. But if the steel is dense, it sounds perfectly fine. I mean, I've never had anyone complain. If anything, I think it sounds better.
Okay.
So it's all about the rigidity, though. Like if it's super solid and it doesn't budge, man, you get all the output from that driver and the power that you want to put into it. So I would recommend. It is a little bit of work. It is a little bit more difficult to deal with than MDF, but the results are pretty good. They do go quite well.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to sand a 1/4 inch off of a piece of steel than it is a piece of MDF. That's true.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is
Um,
true.
so do you have to use like pencil rod around the hole for the speaker so that it holds up and doesn't flex? Because that's going to be your weak point, obviously, right? Is the front baffle, or do you do like we
Yeah.
do with double it up and recess the first layer or something?
You mean if you're making it out of steel?
Yeah.
No, you don't. It doesn't move. What I do is I do one gusset through the middle that welds to connect the back to the front, right where the driver is on the
Okay.
inside edge. And as soon as you put that weld on there, that thing will not move no matter how much power you put into it.
Okay.
It's incredible. The results are pretty fantastic. But as you say, like the bigger you go, if you're building an SPL vehicle and you're building big walls, that's a different scenario. I mean, there's no strength in a flat plate. Unless you're really out, you got to put a huge amount of weight into the vehicle if you're doing it that way. So that's where, hence, box section and caging is the way to go, so that you're not flexing. You've got to move the other wall of the box section, which is far stronger than a sheet. So, so horses for courses.
Yep. So what is your what's your personal biggest number?
My personal biggest number?
Yeah.
So my personal biggest number is 160.1 from a vehicle that I've had, which was four 18s in a wall build with 4 5Ks, some cap banks, and some AGMs, and just a single sort of 200 amp alternator. So not a major number, and on standards compared to the US, but like it's okay. You know what I mean? Like I do build a lot of show, like, I don't know what you'd call them, like show cars sort of things. Which incorporate more like an SQL sort of setup. Like not an SPL per se vehicle, but loud daily sort of systems. So Jody Green, who recommended us talk to each other, he's currently the loudest person in New Zealand with 162.2 out of 2 18s. So he's doing pretty good there. So
yeah, Jody says that's a soft score, Rich.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to catch up to his son, who's also ahead of me.
Okay. What is the thing for you? So, like, you said you've seen the show. I talk about how, I walked out of a stereo shop and heard Madonna's "Like a Prayer," and they hit that first note and just dropped me, just bam. And I was like, dude, I gotta have this. What was your "I gotta have this" moment?
Okay, it's funny you ask that, actually. So gotta have your moment. The thing that sold me on this was when I was 16 and I went to a car audio shop, and one of the sales guys said, "Hey, come out and have a listen to my car." And I mean, like, this is a fair while ago, and he was rocking a 1984 Honda Civic.
Okay.
And he had a set of Boston Pro 6.2 Silk Dome components in the front of his car. And he was running them off Hyphonics amplifiers at the time with an Earthquake 10-inch bandpass enclosure in the back. And I sat in that car, and I just fell in love with it. It was just something that I'd never experienced in my life. It was just the most incredible. I didn't think that music could sound that good. And then I just got sold on it. And then from then onwards, I just wanted to go bigger and better, and more and more and more. And then I turned it into a career for myself. So it was pretty lucky that every day I get to do what I enjoy. So it's a big bonus for me.
Yep. So what was the song? Do you remember?
I'm pretty sure it was definitely one of them was Money for Nothing, Dire Straits, and Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer were the two ones that just had that ultimate kick bass in the front of the vehicle. And it was just that stereo drumming in the front of it, and then Living on a Prayer's got a really good front mid bass kick out of it. So those are the two songs that he demoed for me that I was like, wow, I didn't realize that music could sound like that. Like it was really incredible. So that sort of got me on the path to wanting to do more. So
That's really cool. I don't think anyone's ever mentioned like Bon Jovi as
Right.
their song that got them into bass.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
typically
cool.
it wouldn't have been my choice, but
Yeah,
the mid bass kick in the front of it was actually really good. So
yeah.
it didn't sell me on 67 hertz and below, but but you know, like in regards to listening to a front stage,
Yeah.
that definitely sold me on front stage.
Yeah.
And then obviously we all know the addiction with subs. The more, you know, once you start somewhere, you know, I was started off with, you know, Pioneer IMPP. I
Oh
think they're
yeah.
like 200 RMS 12s that I was buying for like $100 from my local shop. And then, you know, you get one, and then you get two, then you get
Yeah.
four. And then you want to go bigger. Then I got into sounds. Actually, one of the main brands that sold me on car audio back in the day was Soundstream.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, I ended up being the importer for Soundstream to Australia and New Zealand both.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a brand that I was using back in the late 90s when they had the SPL 12s and the Rubicon amplifiers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was they were some pretty solid products
Yeah.
back in the day, and really enjoyed the sound of them, really enjoyed the performance of them, and also too offering a relatively good value for money
Yeah.
option that you know, obviously bases evolved a lot more, you know, since those days.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably the brand that sold me on car audio, you know, back in the late 90s. So
Yep. Tristan says he nearly thought you were going to say Radio Shack. Because, you know,
no, not quite.
that's how we started out this way.
Yeah.
Out in the chat right now is Skip Rutland. Name you guys won't know, but he's in the he's on the Facebook side of chat. Anyway, so Skip Rutland, for anybody that I don't know that anybody watching this podcast right now is familiar with the Sonic FX brand of equipment, because I was a manufacturer for Sonic FX amplifiers and subwoofers. The SR model of amplifier was after Skip Rutland. He was one of my major, how I put it, he was kind of sponsored. This is towards the end of when we were sponsoring people, so I would be sending him stuff. He'd pay at an extremely discounted rate, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, so I named my amplifiers. The SR series was after Skip Rutland. The Q series was after Q, which was Scott Sanborn in the
cool.
in the Term Pro chat. Remember the old Term Pro forum?
Q, yeah.
Yeah, so he was Q. Because that's he said he was Q because Q was number one on the keyboard. So he was number one. That's why his name was Q. So,
Interesting.
21XT24 on Twitch says, I'm going to be tailgating at the Cowboy Stadium on Thursday. But nobody else is going to be there. Cowboys suck.
Oh, no. Well, they actually won one on Sunday, though.
Oh, did they?
Yesterday.
I don't know if I don't know if they're leading the league or what. I honestly don't know. You know, on Thursday last week, Thursday, I was at a company function, and he said he was Skip was at World Finals in 2005 for Bass Race, which was the last year that I had Sonic FX manufacturing still open. Anyway, I was at a company function, and I won tickets to the Niners-Rams game. And in San Francisco, San Jose now, right? There's Santa Clara 49ers.
Yeah.
Anyway, the guys that have known me for a long time, because, you know, some from other companies and whatnot know me. Anyway, they just started cracking up. They're like, there's nobody in this room that cares less about football than Doug Stockton. So I took these tickets. I don't know. Oh, I did. They were box. They were private box tickets.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
So, but I gave them away.
That would have been a good experience.
Dude, that means I gotta go though, and I don't want to go to a football game. Parking's $150 at the game.
Oh.
I don't know what it is at Dallas, but man, yeah, it's $150 to park in Santa Clara nowadays. You know, and that means, and dude, if you want a beer, not that I drink, but you want a beer, I think there's 17 something for a single beer. I mean, you New Zealand guys, I mean, you're probably just as bad as the Australians. Dude, how many beers you gonna drink for $17? And it ain't big.
Insane.
They're like 12-ounce beers too.
Yikes. Well,
Crazy.
Fosters are coming in those really big cans.
So,
Is that how much 21 XT4 is paying? The demo outside of Dallas is like $150.
well, he says he got free tickets, but that doesn't mean his
Oh,
parking was free.
yikes.
So, yep, I went when my daughter got married when I was in Dallas. So we went to Dallas and Lions game. So, we got check this out. So we got all the way up to the front gate, right? And there's a sign right there that says no purses allowed. I was like, damn it. So I got all the women's purses, and it took me so long to walk back to the party bus, drop off the purses to get back. I got back with 1 minute left in the half. That's how far away we were parked.
So America's the land of the free, but not the free parking.
That's right. Definitely. There ain't nothing free here except for your human rights. So,
Well, yeah.
But no, like I said, that's cool. What all products do you produce? So
Yeah.
enclosures, subwoofers, what else? Amplifiers,
Oh,
what? Mids, highs?
amplifiers, speakers, yeah. So we do.
Oh, is it all
components
under
here.
the Zero Flex name?
Yeah, everything's under the Zeroflex brand name. We've got about 60 products that we manufacture. Speakers, mids, tweeters. We do amplifiers from 2-channel amplifiers right up to 40K monos. We're just doing a new range of Neo subs, 12s, 15s, and 18s. We've got a 21-inch sub that we do that weighs about 120 pounds.
Eric's
but then we go
interested
right
in that.
down to and then we go right down to, like, we're developing a new shallow mount driver that's only 1.5 inches deep for a 10-inch. So
Shallow mount.
like slim, shallow.
Yeah,
what do you
shallow
refer to them
yeah,
as?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, shallow mount.
what does Crossfire? Don't they have a shallow mount sub also?
Not in full production. I've
Oh,
seen
okay.
like samples, but
Okay.
a lot of people have inquired about that, for like their
Motorcycles.
trucks. Yeah, motorcycles as well, and their bagger.
Yeah, bag of beats. Yeah, the
tech deal. Yeah.
for bags.
So wow, yeah.
Because I know DC's kind of been working on stuff. I figured Crossfire has. Most of the big companies out there are definitely working, that way. Eric says his 21-inch weighs 100 pounds. So.
Pounds, yeah, it's about the same. Yeah, ours is pretty big. I mean, I think compared to a DD21, I'm pretty sure that from some of the specifications I saw, ours is quite a bit bigger. But there's not overly many 21s down here. Like, it's not
Right.
a common sized product that we sort of stumble across. But yeah, ours goes pretty good. So
Anybody running them in competition or anything right now?
amazingly not. Like, a lot of people brought them. But then I haven't really seen many installed. I don't know whether they just sort of buy them because they like to look at them in their house or something. I'm not really sure what's going on, but there is a couple of cars driving around with them, but it's not an overly common sub that I've seen at comps. So we're actually looking at building a car with them just to get them in the lanes to show what they can do. But they're a pretty monstrous driver, so it's a pretty solid sub.
I hear
Eric
one of
has his
I
in
was gonna say.
a Kia. What is it? No, it's not a Kia. It's a shoot. I forgot what kind.
Does he have an Acura?
Eric could chime in. No, it's kind of like
okay.
a box
Yeah.
car.
Anyway, I was gonna say one of our sponsors, E-Box.
Yeah,
He's all about the 21-inch subwoofers.
yeah.
He says he wants to do
Kia
129. Okay, he wants to
Kia
do
Soul.
129 base race with it. So.
And the Kia Soul in
Yeah.
21.
That's what he says. 21-inch subwoofer with a 129.9 base racer car. So have you tried any of the base race top dog stuff out there? Or?
I haven't. No, it's mostly DB drag we're doing here. I have seen I did go to one event where they were doing it. I'm not overly familiar with it. It was the first time I'd sort of stumbled across it.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly every event we go to is normally a DB drag event as opposed to like a base race sort of thing. But I think there is a few people that are running a couple of events like that, which is it's always good to see different stuff. You know, there's definitely people that enjoy it. So it's we're always looking, you know, for different things to happen. So yeah.
Okay. Tristan, once again, says only a few brands make a more shallow sub that would fit the vehicles we carry compared to the American vehicles. So definitely you saw a need with the shallow mounts, right? And that's why you came up with yours. Have you tried one of those inside is that what you put inside the truck boxes of the shallow mounts?
No, we typically use our normal shallow mount driver or subwoofer that we're using at the moment, but currently that's like 3.5 inches deep. So we wanna get this, obviously the shallower we can get the better. So we are just working on this new driver that's coming out, well, that hopefully we should be putting into production soon. But I mean that magical 1.5 inches mounting depth is the winner. So
yeah, I think
that'll
we've
allow us
had a
lots
lot
of flexibility.
interest in people with like 2-seaters, like you know, those with not very much room in the back. So having a shallow mount is perfect for those cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So do you do the same thing as what I've seen here? You got your pole piece in the center of the driver facing, you know, more towards like the back of the basket is flush, and then the coil rides along the motor, which is literally in the center on the front.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that every time I've seen a company do that, it's sort of, it doesn't really work in regards to the fact that when the pole piece extends out the front, there's still a depth that won't fit behind the seat. So, for example, it's quite key to getting the basket in the front of it and the cone to be more recessed inside the front of it so it doesn't skirt out too far. And by having your actual magnet and pole piece out the front of the driver that sits out, you know, an inch past the front side of the driver, it's counterproductive to being a shallow mount driver. What you're really looking for is from front to back, how shallow you can make it and how you can recess the surround, almost, you know, like effectively an inverted surround into. You want the cone to sit back into the driver a little bit so that when it skirts out, it only goes a certain distance. Like X-Max is effectively your enemy when you're dealing with a shallow space. So it's all about trying to get the most amount of output out of the smallest profile possible. So
Skip wants to know, how well does your shallow mount sub work in a T-line box?
Well, again, don't really put them in a T-line box.
I was going to say,
T-line box is normally too big. So.
Yes, the whole idea behind a T-line is huge, right?
That's right. It's kind of like taking like a drag car to the supermarket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's sort of, you know, again, I'm not really sure. I guess there's plenty of other drivers that would do better. You know, they're not really designed for that. But all we're trying to do with the slimline stuff is to get the shallowest stuff into the shallowest enclosure we can possibly get them into. So.
One thing about a T-line, if you want to go driver specific, small X-Max, you can optimize that really well within a T-line. But then again, the reason it works so well is because you have miles of space, right?
Correct.
Which is the exact opposite of a shallow mount driver.
And the other problem too is when a lot of people do shallow mount stuff, they put them in sealed enclosures. And when you're dealing with smaller driver cones, obviously the FS of the driver is quite high. So you don't really get that real you know, bottom end extension that you're sort of looking for, unless you're doing a brand like JL that has, you know, low FS out of their drivers anyway. You can get away with a sealed enclosure. So hence we're sort of, you know, trying to port them, but then obviously the downside to that is that you need more volume. So it's a real balancing act between trying to get, you know, ideally what you want is you want a 10-inch shallow mount driver that's 1.5 inches deep with an FS of 28.
Yeah,
that's what you want. That's
that
the
thing
dream.
Would weigh
that's the
so
dream.
much.
Yeah. I know.
That would have to weigh so much.
So it's a bit of a juggling act, but I like it. I like the challenge of trying to be able to figure out, you know, to be given a situation and then obsess over it until you get a result, you know. So
Eric Hansen says, "I like this guy." Yeah. So that was like that's the same issue you have like an infinite baffle setup, right? Is
Hmm.
you can't. It's the same problem as a small sub in a small sealed box versus a big sub in a big box. You can't
Yeah,
get the FS low enough to get the
yeah,
frequency you want or the Q of the box, right?
yeah,
So you're looking for a
yes,
Q of 7,
yeah,
ideally. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, and then you
yeah.
know how we fix that problem, right? You tape nickels to the back of your subwoofers. One
Is that how
nickel's
you do it?
5 grams. Yep,
There you go.
a nickel, 5 cents equals 5 grams. Real simple,
Yeah,
easy math.
beautiful. Yep,
Except for
there
don't
you
stick
go.
it all on one side. Just saying.
No. Yeah.
So,
Oh.
any other? I mean, so what about like putting your sales into other areas? Do they go off to like Malaysia or out to South America or any of that stuff?
No, we don't really do that. We concentrate on Australia and New Zealand only.
Okay.
Reason we do it is because mostly to do with logistics and the freight costs to get
Hmm.
stuff back up to like the States. There's actually one guy in California that has one of our amplifiers. I think it's the only one in America.
Okay.
And he was
Oh.
pretty insistent that I said, look, it's going to cost you a lot of money to get it up there. If you want it, you want
Eh,
it. And he was he
what's his
was he
name?
would just I can't remember. It was actually about how long ago was that? That
Zero,
was
zero
that was
flex.
about 5 or 6 years ago. I just
Okay.
remember this crazy dude from California wanting to. He goes, I just want an amplifier in my car that nobody else has.
And where
And
was it at? Was it in Northern California? So, do you remember what area?
I think it was San Diego. I think I sent it to
Oh,
San
okay.
Diego. I could probably
Oh,
check up on
okay.
that. But
That
yeah,
would be
and
Jeffrey's spot.
Yeah, I'm trying
John
to
was the
think.
guy's name, Jon, because I remember it didn't have an H in it. It was Jon.
Okay.
John.
So John was the guy's name, and yeah, he was pretty adamant, and he was like, "Okay, cool." He sent over the money, and I packed it up and paid the $300 or $400 FedEx bill to
Oh,
Wow.
to
that's
to
not
get it up
bad.
to him. It was yeah, yeah,
Shoot,
yeah. I mean, if you're
Jeffrey's
buying
paid
one
that
amplifier,
much. Jeffrey's paid that much for a subwoofer to get shipped. I bet.
No, no.
yeah.
So
So
then you have
yeah,
an
but we don't.
overnighted one. So no, that's cool. So when you're no longer part of this industry and whatnot, what is your what do you want people to take away from who you were? Or what do you want to be remembered as when you're no longer part of this group of people?
I feel good about being able to deliver people products at a good price. I think
Mm.
that's the key. Like our range of Neo subs that we're doing, being able to bring them into New Zealand directly and be able to allow people to have a product that they normally wouldn't be able to afford. I think that's the main thing that I like to do. Again, obviously you've got to make a dollar on the way through,
Mm-hmm.
but being able to have people have a good experience for a good price.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably what I want to be known as. Like I'm never
Mm.
going to be the ultimate car audio brand. I don't have the pedigree to do that. I'm never going to be a Sundown. Or one of the number one
Hey,
brands. But
they started just like you are. I'm just saying.
yeah, that's right. And
Yeah.
but I enjoy building cars. Like, if I didn't do this, like my wife asked me, if you ever won the lottery, what would you do? I was like, man,
This.
I just want to have cars that I could just work on and just build and cut them up. And we do some pretty gnarly stuff over at work, and we cut some cars up and do some different sorts of things as well, because obviously we've got the ability to do metal work as well. So I'd just build cars if I didn't do car audio, but I kind of want to be known. I guess if when my time comes to bow out, at least I can know that I did that, and I sort of made a few people's dreams come true, I suppose, if that was
That's
possible to
awesome.
do.
Ah,
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah.
David Williams says we pay around $400 in shipping a recon kit from the U.S. to New Zealand. So
Wow, a Rico
Yeah.
kit that weighs probably 5 pounds.
does it weigh that much?
Volume. Yeah.
A Rico kit.
I know.
Probably.
You better order a lot of them at a time at that price. Good Lord. Eric
Yeah.
Hansen wants to know: do you have a decal? Do you have decals?
Oh, we do. Yeah, we've got lots. Yeah.
How easy are those to ship? That's his
Well, they're
next
very easy
question
to
that he
ship.
hasn't
Oh, okay.
sent yet.
Very
So,
easy to ship. Yeah, that's no
okay.
problems.
Yeah, Eric likes to support other people, so yeah, he
Cool.
might be
Awesome.
interested in do that.
Chuck, send me a line.
All right, Jeffrey,
Yes.
we're at that time. We really are.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
why don't you ask the question?
Okay. Rich, so basically, this is a question that we ask all of our guests.
Mhm.
We would like to know, what is your definition of a bass head?
My definition of a bass head would be someone that has a times 10 power ratio to their front stage.
Whoa. Okay.
That
You,
would probably be where you'd start to get into it. Obviously, a bass head would have to have like a true bass head wouldn't be running a sealed enclosure. So for me, ported enclosure times 10 ratio of bottom end power to front stage power, and drives with their windows down.
so they make amplifiers for front stage? I've never seen one.
Nobody
Just
needs
saying.
those. That's what head units are for.
Yeah, the head unit's
Exactly.
plenty of power for the front stage. Amplifiers 20,000. That's only for the back. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Tristan says he's on your Facebook page. Rich, your work is amazing, and your
Very
products
cool.
look great, bro.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Tristan.
So okay, so how would people see you,
Yes.
get a hold of you, ask you questions? Because I'm sure you're
Oh,
willing to share knowledge and whatnot that you've learned.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Instagram's we're pretty big on Instagram.
Okay.
That's ZeroFlexNZ on Instagram. So that's ZeroFlex is in our brand, ZeroFlexNZ, and we've got Facebook obviously as well, Instagram and TikTok. It's all the same handle for all of them. So yeah, if anyone's wanting to check out some of the stuff that we do and some of the cars that we build and some of the products that we do, we've got those. So yeah.
Okay. And for us American folk, Z is Z. That's
Oh,
the
sorry,
letter Z.
Yeah.
N
Yeah.
as in
Sorry about that.
Nancy, Z as in zebra. That's
You
the
know, that
dot
kind
New
of that
Zealand.
threw me off a little bit.
I knew it
I was
would.
like,
You're not the only one, Jeffrey. So
Gotcha.
I do a lot of stuff with international people, so that's I'm
Mhm.
very familiar with
Same.
that spelling. So anyway, you got any shows or anything coming up?
Yeah, we've got a couple more at the end of the year. So yeah, we're looking to have another couple of cars released for that. So it should be good. So watch this
Cool.
space, and hopefully our friend Jody Green will be getting a little bit louder soon too. So ratchet it up for the end of the year. We're coming to the finish line.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see now a lot of the products coming out of New Zealand, and with the Zero Flex brand name on it, and kind of, hey, I know the guy.
yeah. Jody
Down
Green
there.
says 7th of January.
Oh,
Ah,
7th
okay.
of January.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Eric Hansen says in the chat, can you post a link for him? So
Jody will be able to. Yeah.
okay, Jody, post the link, please.
Yes.
Other than that, Jeffrey, what do you got?
I'm actually feeling a little jealous that the New Zealand guys are like, they're into their car show time
Season?
right now.
Yeah.
Season, yeah, they're
Little
starting up, and
FOMO?
we're in our exactly, and we're in our winter season, and it's normally the downtime type thing. But so I guess with that being said, so it's kind of where we're at with the shows. It's kind of cold. Not too many people like being out in the cold. So, but I would like to say, just kind of keep an eye on the DB Drag calendar. We should be having a show pretty soon coming up, mid-December. Um, there's also going to be a Toys for Tots event that's going to be by T.W.I.C.A and our good friend Shane, who's going to be holding one at Crossfire Carly in Grapevine, Texas, December 8th. So,
Yep. Tristan said he sent both. Well, he said you, Jeffrey, but he sent both of
okay.
us some videos and pics of a training session
Oh
yesterday.
yeah, I was just mentioning to Doug.
Yeah.
Got a little more jealous. It was just like they're practically in the sand. That's where
Oh
the
yeah,
show
right
was.
on the
And I was
beach,
like,
huh?
right on the beach. I was like, oh my God, that's like sand right there at the show.
Yeah. And Tristan says he has a show this Sunday. Sunday. Monster trucks. Oh, not there.
No.
Anyway, hey, and for me, it is what it is. It's for us, it's our Thanksgiving time for us to give
Yeah.
thanks to our family, friends, the things we have. things we've been fortunate enough to collect throughout life. So be thankful for all your stuff. That's part of the season here in the United States. Doesn't mean you people in the other places. I'm sure you have your times where you want to be thankful for the things you guys have. We're most of the people involved in this sport, I would say almost everybody that's in the chat or downloads this or whatever, they're probably in a situation that's much better than somebody else. And so if you guys get the opportunity, this is the season to be sharing. Get yourself a chance to, help go out and support maybe some charities. And if you have time, then time's the way to go. And you can share your time. Sitting down with somebody, talking with them in the season. They might not have everybody around. They may have lost people this year and whatnot. So, you may be in a better situation to talk to people and just, break bread, as they say. Break bread with your friends, family. Let them know that you're thankful that they're in your life. This is a big time of year for a lot of people. So, with that in mind, I want to thank our sponsors once again. Badass Sounds by Steve. We're thankful for them. E-Box Design and Install. He's been a sponsor here for, probably over a year and a half now or so. So, we want to say thank you to our sponsors. And like I said, if you guys get an opportunity during this Christmas time and you need to and you want to buy something from somebody who sponsors something you like, consider these sponsors: E-Box Design and Install and Badass Sounds by Steve. Let him know that T.W.I.C.A sent you. And like I said, once again, hey guys, thank you for tuning in. It was great to see somebody from literally halfway around the world. And Rich Addis, all the way from New Zealand, checking in with us today. It's for him, he's only a couple hours behind us. I think he's 2 hours behind us or 3 hours behind us, but a whole day ahead of us. So
I was gonna say, I thought he was in the future.
He is. He's in the future.
Yeah, he is in the future. That's right.
So if you guys care who's going to win the football game tonight, just ask Rich. So he can check it out on the internet. Another thing that's going to be happening for some of you guys, pay attention. I was helping Darren. He's going to start trying to do a podcast to involve the Caribbean areas. So if you guys get an opportunity, maybe go check that out. Anybody has any suggestions for guests, we're all ears. And, like I said, we're international, so we'd love to get other international people involved with this. Tristan says, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Enjoy the time with your families. And Black Friday sales, which is unique to the United States. So Black Friday, you guys, it's not as bad as it used to be in the 80s and 90s. So you don't have to bring a gun with you to go get a Cabbage Patch or nothing. But be out there, be safe, mindful of your things. Theft is on the rise as we go into the Christmas season. People see things in cars, so protect your stuff. Eric says this was an awesome guest. Well, we appreciate you for being on.
Cool. Yeah.
But anyway, guys, we'll see you next week on This Week in Car Audio, 5:30 California time, the only time that matters. I don't care where you are in the world. Peace. We out.